And we begin with security matters, where bandits attack on Mera community in the Agui local government area of Kebbi State has claimed the lives of 15 residents. The attack was confirmed by the Deputy Governor, Abubakar Umar Tafida, who expressed condolences to the victims' families. The 15 victims have been laid to rest in a funeral attended by the Deputy Governor, Commissioner of Police, and the Emir. The incident comes on the heels of recent attacks befalling the country, especially the north, due to insecurity. Elsewhere, Katsina State Police Command reported that security operatives successfully foiled multiple bandit attacks in Jibia local government area, rescuing 21 victims late Thursday night. In the intense gunfight, one community watch corps member and a vigilante lost their lives. Police spokesperson ASP Abubakar Sadiq stated Friday that bandits launched coordinated assaults on Kiadi Ongwawo, one boy, and Darmaki in Jibia Township. A swift joint response from police, military, and community watch teams led to a gun battle lasting over an hour, ultimately forcing the bandits to flee. 16 victims were rescued and 5 people injured while taken to the hospital. Let's also tell you that a special investigative panel that is independent, they are investigating on human rights violation in counter-insurgency operations in Nigeria's northeast region, and has been set up by the National Human Rights Commission in Abuja. And it has found the Nigerian military culpable of acts of infanticide and killing of community members in Abisare village in Borno State on June the 16th, 2016. The 7-man panel, chaired by former Supreme Court Judge Justice Abdu Abuki, which investigated allegations of human rights violations in the Northeast, including allegations by international news agency Reuters, claiming that the military had engaged in over 10,000 forced abortions in the region, however, absolved the military of the allegations, describing them as false and untrue.
Did not find the military culpable, and listen very carefully, did not find the military culpable for the massacre of children in Kukawa, in Gasarwa, in Alagarno, and in many parts of New Martin. But the panel found the military culpable of infanticide and the killing of community members in a village of Abisare in Marte local government area of Borno State on the 16th of June 2016.
Away from that, Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau, NSIB, has confirmed the recovery of the black box containing both the flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder from the Cisco Sky SK-76 helicopter that crashed near Borni Thenima off the coast of Calabar on October 24th. The helicopter, operated by East Wind Aviation and contracted by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, was carrying 6 passengers and 2 crew members. 3 bodies have been recovered from the crash. The spokesperson for NSIB, Bimbo Oladeji, stated that the black box was retrieved with support from NNPC, NIMASA, the Nigerian Navy, and Hydrodive. The device is now secured for analysis, which is crucial for understanding the crash sequence and informing safety measures. Efforts continue to locate the missing individuals. Away from that, we understand that the Nigerian Labour Congress has thrown its weight behind threat by the Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, NUPENG, to embark on a nationwide strike over the alleged use of military personnel to eject workers from the Orisi Timei oil rig. Now, a statement signed by the NLC President Joe Ajero on Friday condemned the allegation against the military by the oil workers, adding that it stands solidly behind Nupeng. NLC threatened to escalate its response to the dispute should the breach of agreements and the use of military and other security agencies to interfere in industrial relation matters continue. Ajori's reaction comes following a lingering industrial dispute between the owners of the Orisha-Timei oil rig and Nupeng over an alleged breach of the agreements freely entered into by the two parties. However, on Thursday morning, a special naval personnel team was allegedly flown into the oil rig to eject the workers. And now to updates on detained minors of the #EndBadGovernance protests. The Attorney General and Minister of Justice Lateef Fagbemi has clarified that Nigerian law does not prohibit persecuting minors, countering recent criticism over the arraignment of young protesters on treason charges. Speaking in Abuja, Fagbemi explained that despite suggestions that minors should appear in family courts, only the Federal High Court holds jurisdiction in treason cases. He emphasized that the gravity of the charges justified the arraignment. However, President Bola Tinubu chose to pardon the young defendants, citing compassion and familiar empathy. Still on the protest, the #EndBadGovernance movement has held a powerful rally in Lagos, calling for the release of protesters who have been detained and on trial since the nationwide demonstration in August. This rally is the latest of show of dissent against the government's handling of the economy and its treatment of citizens. News Central's Igbalani Omoni captured the energy and determination of the protesters in this report. Take a look.
Despite the arrest and trial of previous demonstrators, protesters gathered at the Ikeja underbridge in the central business district of Lagos, demanding the release of fellow #EndBadGovernance activists still facing trial.
The same children that were released quickly had an ashwebi on them. As if the government was really prepared for the drama the government was acting. It's an aberration. Now, some of our comrades today, Lenin and Co, Adelamoye, are currently on trial today at the Federal High Court in Abuja. And we're saying that the government should extend that same amnesty granted to others, to the same people.
What we are here today to say is that no one deserves a death sentence for peacefully protesting.
The movement states that it remains unwavering in its call for improved governance and economic reform. Tensions briefly rose as a large contingent of security officers arrived at the scene. However, rather than engaging with protesters, they drove past the demonstration. The rally organized by the #EndBadGovernance movement saw participants marching through the streets, chanting slogans and singing struggle songs. Undeterred, the crowd pressed on to the office of the Chief Judge in GRA Ikeja, where they submitted a petition outlining their demands.
That petition is to the Chief Judge of the State. But we know that it's not a Lagos matter. But we are hoping and we are praying to my Lord that my Lord will ensure that this petition is escalated to the Chief Justice of Nigeria for immediate action. And that the Chief Justice of Nigeria will also put us together with the right people, whether the NBA, whether the Attorney General of the Federation, to say enough is enough to this sham trial. Let our people go.
I have been directed to receive this petition on their behalf. I've listened to your complaint, and I believe all the complaints are contained in this petition. So I've received it now on their behalf, and I'm going to deliver it to the appropriate office.
Protesters also voiced concerns over the worsening economic hardships, a major driving force behind the #EndBadGovernance movement.
A lot of issues are on ground. Petrol has increased. Gas has increased. We cannot cook again for our children in the house. We are hungry.
They go silence us. They go put fear for our body. They go kill us. They go threaten us so that other people no go do it. They no go want come outside.
That is why we are daring the state. You can see police everywhere. We want to be arrested. Let them charge us for treasonable felony. We are ready.
It remains to be seen how the government will respond to these demands.
You are ready to be arrested?
I am available to be arrested.
In Lagos 4 News Central, I am Igbalani Omani.
Residents of Ruga, a suburb along the airport road in Abuja, have protested against the demolition of their homes by the FCT administration. Now, this is coming days after the FCTA task force, known as Operation Sweep, destroyed homes belonging to the residents of Ruga in a bid to clear the area following directives from the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. News Center's Emmanuel Bagudu reports.
This is what is left of the Ruga village located in a suburb of the FCT, opposite the Abuja City Gate. From gunshot injuries to displacement of residents, the horrible memories of this demolition operation will linger long in the memories of the affected residents. The demonstration was led by prominent lawyer and activist Deji Adeyanju alongside Vincent Martins Ote, popularly known as Very Dark Man.
It may be because of one of your friends or one of all these people that have given you money, maybe. Because it's always like that at the end of the day. So Nelson, we can think about all these people and even think about all these children before you continue this act.
More than 15,000 residents of the FCT in this location alone. You can see here children who their parents are directly affected. You can also see that there is a victim. One of the victims was shot.
Abdullah Mohammed is one of the victims. He didn't just lose his home, he received gunshot wound on the unfaithful day during the demolition operation.
Sun zo jiya za su rusau. Yawwa sun zo suna da yawa mun fara ciccire irin dakunan mu. To sai na samu dan sandan su guda ɗaya na tambaye shi da Allah akwai national ID card na boye shi a cikin silin. Zan je dauko ba matsala sai ya ce mun ba matsala. Sai na tafi da gudu sai na shiga cikin gidana. Sai na saka hannuna a cikin silin. Ina duba national ID card din na yaga kwalima. Sai ga wani dan sanda ya shigo da bindiga a hannunsa. Sai ce in fita. Sai na ce na yi magana da abokin aikinku da Allah ina so zan dan cira national ID card ne tunda na ga konawa kuke. In rushewa ake zan iya in an rushe zan cire. To kawai sai ya ce wai in fita daga cikin gurin sai na juya ina juyawa kafata ina daga kafata haka na juya kawai ya harbe ni pap dan sandan a kafa.
Activist Adeyanju called on President Bola Tinubu to intervene on the matter and consider the plight of those displaced by the operation.
We are appealing to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces that Mr. President, you must do something about this, that these people are harassed frequently by members of the FCTA administration, that we are sending a note of warning to people in government and the ruling elite that the only way they sleep and the ruling elite can sleep is if poor people are allowed to sleep. That when poor people are not allowed to sleep, that the rich in the society will not be able to sleep.
Many of the residents here were initially forced out of their homes by insecurity in Borno, Adamawa, Yobe, Katsina, and several other states in the north. However, the so-called thought they would have gotten in the federal capital is now a failed dream. In Abuja for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
Many thanks, Emmanuel, there for that comprehensive report. We now head to the oil sector, where we understand that oil marketers in Nigeria are refuting claims of importing substandard petrol, asserting that all imported premium motor spirit is certified by the Standards Organization of Nigeria and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. Their response follows the concerns raised by Dangote Petroleum Refinery, which cautioned that some dealers might be importing off-spec products and warned against using deregulation as a pretext for substandard imports. Industry stakeholder Robert Dickenman confirmed that independent inspectors alongside SON, that's the Standard Organization of Nigeria, and NMDPRA routinely verify imports to maintain quality standards. Dickenman also highlighted a 13-year agreement with Dangote Refinery for the distribution of products. A SON official reiterated the agency's commitment to quality assurance, noting that imports attested in SON laboratories to prevent off-spec products from reaching the markets. Earlier, we're joined by Temitope Kolade. She's a senior manager and lead ESG climate change services at Anderson to react to this. Take a look.
As it pertains to things around petroleum products, refined products in particular, we expect the NMDPRA to take its role and ensure that it does its work very well in that regard. So unfortunately, in recent times, it appears that the NMDPRA has not been pulling its weight, especially when you think about even the pricing issues. And it goes back to when we had, for instance, subsidy is gone. At the very next moment, NNPCL adjusts the price and NMDPRA comes later and says, oh, it's just fine, right? So it's almost nice to hear from people to then begin to put allegations of this sort of indictment to feel that they're not doing their work. But I don't also think that we should take the words of those who are bringing those allegations for it, because otherwise we would have had several engines knocked in Nigeria altogether in the recent past. I want to feel very strongly that the NMDPRA is still a very formidable organization. The SON is also doing its work. But of course, it's important at this point to begin to evaluate how much that work is being done.
You're watching news now on News Central TV. We go on a short break. When we return, political parties sign peace accord ahead of Ondo governorship elections. We'll bring you this and more after the break. Stay here. And now to election matters. Political parties and candidates in Ondo State have signed a peace accord ahead of the 16th November governorship election. The signing, which took place on Friday at the International Cultural and Event Center in Akure, the state capital, was organized by the National Peace Committee headed by former head of state Abdusalam Abubakar. Some of the parties present at the signing of the peace accord include the All Progressives Congress APC, People's Democratic Party PDP, Labour Party LP, Action Democratic Party ADP, and Zenith Labour Party ZLP, among others. Speaking at the event, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Mahmoud Yakubu, urged the candidates of their parties to commit to a peaceful election.
The sincere hope of the Nigerian Peace Committee that Ondo State elections will be free, fair, credible, and peaceful. And every one of us to ensure that we will maintain the peace in the country. Because if there is no peace, there is no country.
The National Peace Committee accepted our request to devolve the signing of the peace accord beyond the presidential election to include off-cycle governorship elections in view of the tension and sometimes violence associated with these elections in the past.
Ondo State has been a peaceful state. In fact, even during this campaign, it's been peaceful. And you don't enjoy this in most states when election is almost about a week to the D-Day. But today we are enjoying relative peace.
And joining us to discuss this is a legal practitioner and political analyst, and that's Alan Shore. Alan, many thanks for joining us. Let's get started and ask about, the past elections. How do the past elections in Ondo State inform, the current dynamics surrounding the peace accord? Specifically, what specific lessons would, one would have to learn that could impact, this 2024 election cycle?
Thank you very much for having me. Elections in the past, Ondo State has come with some little skirmishes. The last governorship election that we even had in.
Move away from that story, and this time we head to Edo State. Let's start talking about party politics. The Edo State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has inaugurated the caretaker committee members set up by the party's National Working Committee. They are to run the party's affairs pending the election of new executives. The committee is chaired by Tony Aziegbemi, with Henry Duke Tanebe as secretary. The committee set is charged with the responsibility of running the affairs of the party in Ondo State, or rather in Edo State, for a period not exceeding 90 days, and that is 3 months, or till a new executive committee is elected. Speaking at the inauguration at the PDP Secretariat in Benin City, the Edo State Governor, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, expressed confidence that the party will reclaim its mandate stolen by the All Progressives Congress, APC, during the September 21st governorship election. We head back to Ondo, giving the peace accord signing by all of the parties that will be participating for next week's governorship election. And we have Alan Shore, who is back with us. Alan, I understand you're back.
Yes, I'm back.
All right, fantastic. You were answering my first question about just basically the past elections in Ondo, and the dynamics surrounding the peace accord and what one can learn, how it can impact this 2024 election cycle.
Yes, I was saying that the last governorship election that we had previously has come with some kind of skirmishes. You will recall that in 2020, prior to the governorship election, even INEC office was on fire, and up to now, no particular or specific things have been identified as the source of that fire. So, well, this time, I think both INEC and the various stakeholders have learned a lot, so we do not have such occurrences, and the election is just about 7 days away. So I think there has been some kind of improvement from the particular political party participating, and INEC, and even the security agency. So for me, a lot of lessons have been learned.
Speaking of lessons, INEC said it is ready for the election, and they would improve on its shortcoming in the Edo election. Do you see that happening?
What I normally do, I run away from speaking for INEC. As citizen and a member of a political party, we must all hold INEC to his INEC feet to fire. We must always pull them on the spot to ensure that they deliver. Speaking about INEC preparation and our expectation at a time when the election has not commenced will be premature.
Right. So, look, Alan, you're very familiar with Ondo State, right? What do you preempt as regards security, right? And what preparation do you expect during the election coming up on Saturday?
I was in Edo, and based on my experience in Edo State, I can say confidently that the Nigeria police and all the security agencies have improved on providing security during, after, or before election in Ondo State, in Nigeria generally. And this one being an obstacle election, I think we are sure of having enough police and other members of the security agency on ground, which has boosted the confidence of the people to participate in the election. People are happy that we have enough police on ground, we have enough members of other security agency who have expressed willingness to participate in this election. That has tremendously increased the level of confidence that the people have in terms of going out to vote and coming back home.
And that's what we hope for, that people can go home, come out to vote and exercise their civic duty and still come back home in one piece. Well, Alan, I must say thank you so much for coming out to just having this conversation with us this morning. Rather this afternoon, Alan Showore, he's a political analyst and as well just joined us to give a bit of insight on for the Ondo elections coming up this Saturday, next week Saturday, November 16th. Once again, thank you. We switch gears now to corruption charges in light of the recent detention and quizzing of the immediate past governor of Delta State, Ifeanyi Okowa, by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, regarding alleged misappropriation of 1.3 trillion naira from the 13% derivation fund between 2015 and 2023. Ijaw National Congress Worldwide President Professor Benjamin Okaba has called upon the EFCC to expand its investigation to include Nigeria's immediate past president, Muhammadu Buhari, concerning allegations of billions of dollars in crude oil exchange loans for federal road construction and rehabilitation in the Niger Delta region and beyond. Professor Okaba revealed this in an exclusive interview with News Central's correspondent Austin Azu in Asaba, Delta State capital, where he expressed concern over the underdevelopment of the Niger Delta region despite its role as the nation's economic backbone. Here's his report.
Following the transfer of power to Governor Sheriff Oboriwori on May 29, 2023, numerous interest groups promptly initiated calls for the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to investigate former Governor Ifeanyi Okowa's 8-year tenure through protest, press briefing, and formal letters. The voice of Edwin Clark, prominent leader of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum and elder statesman, was particularly vocal in calling for an EFCC investigation into Okowa's handling of the 13% oil derivation fund from 2015 to 2023. After months of pressure, the anti-graft agency launched its investigation, inviting and detaining the former governor at its Port Harcourt Zonal Command for an extended period. Though a cross-section of respondents in Asaba, Delta State capital, expressed diverse views regarding the former governor's arrest and detention.
Now, when a citizen of Nigeria is arrested, just like your question, the EFCC or every other security agency has 24 hours to charge that person to court, or in extreme cases, 48 hours. But that has not happened in this case.
Even if, say, they find out, say, even do anything, but by what time, the man try for Delta State. Make I say at least 80% of Deltans can testify that, yes, this man did work.
Professor Benjamin Okaba, president of Ijaw National Congress Worldwide, responded to the development by underscoring the constitutional requirement for present and past leaders to account for their stewardship. He urged the EFCC to pursue a rigorous investigation and extend an invitation to former President Muhammadu Buhari to address the significant foreign debt accumulated during his presidency.
Sometimes when you say you are zeroing on Okowa, what about Buhari? The anti-graft agency, is it made for some persons? Let Buhari come and show us the roads that he constructed with the loans that are making Nigeria to suffer the much we are suffering. Even the current president mentioned it, that he inherited heavy burden. If he inherited heavy burden, who should be held responsible? What is the anti-graft agency doing about that?
Although the EFCC has not issued an official statement, it remains unclear whether the former governor has been released or still being questioned since his detention earlier this week. In Asaba for News Central, I'm Austin Azu.
And away from the south and now to the southeast, Abia State has defrayed its debt burden of the state by more than half. The state governor, Alex Oti, disclosed this at a media chat at the banquet hall of Government House in Umuahia. Governor Oti also hinted on plans to prosecute some workers arrested recently over alleged pension scam. News Center's Chinwe Ugeli reports.
Briefing journalists on Thursday,
Governor Alex Otti hints that his administration has defrayed more than half of the debt burden of 191.2 billion naira it inherited from the past government.
Between 29th of May to the last quarter, this government has paid almost 90 billion out of the 191 billion. So we are owing actually less than 100 billion now.
The General Manager of Debt Management Office in Abia State, Kingsley Nweboro, confirms that the government is consistently offsetting the debts since assumption of office.
And as he continues paying regularly, the money continues dropping and dropped to 108.4 billion naira as at 30 June 2024. And it is now of good news that the last quarter we are into now, that is the third quarter that ended the 30th September this year, 2024, the money has reduced to 89.3 billion naira.
This sum, according to the General Manager of the Debt Management Office, include old salaries and pensions, as well as borrowings from commercial banks.
45% was money owed to banks. Then the other percentage was money owed to pensioners and contractors.
The governor once again announced that his government is yet to borrow for the first time since it assumed office.
So that's the way to measure how effective government is. And government has been doing all the things it's been doing, building roads, cleaning up everywhere, getting our healthcare delivery system to work, paying pensioners, paying workers. So how are we doing it? Some people are asking how we are doing it.
For this, the DMO General Manager says it may still happen in future, even though it must be tied to projects.
One day the governor will go for borrowing. Totales will go for borrowing. But the difference is that he's going to borrow to invest.
Governor Otti at the media chat also reveals the government's plan to prosecute some workers arrested over alleged pension scam.
I got a report of the investigation from the security agencies, and I have authorized that in the next few days they should be arraigned before the court to come and tell us how come they are stealing from the state. From the report I got, there are about 10 or 11 of them. Some of them are outside the country. We're going to repatriate them to answer to their state, to their sins.
The media chat is a monthly interface between the governor and journalists where the latter has the opportunity to ask the governor questions on areas of concerns. In Omaha for News Central, I am Chinwe Ugele.
And we continue the news, this time from the southern part of Africa. Mozambique's opposition has promised fresh protests as rights groups said at least 30 people had been killed in 3 weeks of demonstrations over contested election results. The Southern African nation has been rocked by violence since the ruling Frelimo party was announced winner of the October 9th elections with more than 70% of votes. The party has been in power for almost 50 years. Opposition leader Venancio Moline, who won 20% of the vote according to the election authority, claims the election was rigged. He has called his supporters onto the streets in protest. Former U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi has said Democrats might have fared better in Tuesday's election if President Joe Biden had exited the race sooner. Pelosi, one of the most powerful politicians in Washington, said had President Biden gotten out sooner, there may have been other candidates in the race. Her remarks are the latest finger-pointing from Democrats after the party lost hold of the White House and potentially both chambers of Congress on Tuesday. Nancy Pelosi is widely reported to have led the Democrats' push to oust Biden, who ended up leaving the race at the end of July after weeks of pressure following a poor debate performance against Donald Trump. Now to health. The WHO Director General has highlighted the escalating threat of ransomware attacks on healthcare facilities. Speaking during an address to the United Nations Security Council, the DG warned that these cyber attacks go beyond financial disruptions. The WHO Director General emphasized the severe impact of cyber attacks on hospitals and healthcare services, calling for urgent and collective global action to address this growing crisis.
Let's be clear at the outset that ransomware and other cyber attacks on hospitals and other health facilities are not just issues of security and confidentiality. They can be issues of life and death. At best, these attacks cause disruption and financial loss. At worst, they undermine trust in the health system on which people depend and even cause patient harm and death. The digital transformation of health systems, the high value of health data, increasing demands on health systems, and resource constraints all contribute to making health facilities attractive targets to ransomware attacks. These attacks target the digital infrastructure of health facilities, disrupt or shut them down in order for access to be returned. The perpetrators demand a fee or ransom be paid.
And on to the Middle East. An explosion at a railway station in Pakistan's Balochistan province has killed at least 17 people and wounded dozens more. The explosion happened as passengers waited on a platform at around 8:45 a.m. on Saturday in the capital of Balochistan province, which borders Afghanistan and Iran. Pakistan's largest and poorest province, resource-rich Balochistan, is home to separatist militants. Now, the militants have in the past targeted energy projects with foreign financing, most notably from China, accusing outsiders of exploiting the region while excluding residents from the profits. One of the militant groups, the Baloch Liberation Army, BLA, frequently claims deadly attacks against security forces or Pakistanis from other provinces, notably Punjabis. Nigerian teen striker Barobo Ariere is set to embark on an exciting European adventure, having flown to Norway to finalize a deal with Norwegian club. The 17-year-old forward, hailed as one of Nigeria's brightest young talents, recently captivated fans with his performances for the Flying Eagles at the WOFA B Under-20 Championships in Togo. Ariere played a decisive role in Ghana's triumph over Nigeria's, decisive role in Nigeria's triumph over Ghana in the match. Now, his display in that match placed him firmly on the radar of European clubs. Now, following this stellar run, Ariere flew out to Norway, where he's expected to train with Lillestrøm until he can officially sign his contract in January. We'd love to see them fly high and bright. Congratulations to him. In the meantime, Olympique de Marseille coach Roberto Di Zerbi has threatened to quit the League One side after their dreadful run at home continued on Friday with a 3-1 loss to AJ Axis in a league match at the Stade Velodrome. Now, Marseille are second in the League One standings, but have won just one of 5 home games this season. They have lost their last 2 matches, conceded 3 goals in each. Di Zerbi, who was appointed in June, said if he is the problem, then he's ready to leave all the money and hand back his contract. Marseille next travel to face 8th place RC Lens on November 23rd. On to Japan with baseball. Hotly tipped Japanese pitcher, and that's Roki Sasaki, was on Saturday given the green light to follow in the footsteps of Shohei Ohtani and move to Major League Baseball. Sasaki, widely regarded as one of the best players in Japan's domestic league, will be posted for a potential move to the U.S. His club, the Chiba Lotte Marines, have said that means MLB clubs will have the right to bid for the 23-year-old right-handed this offseason. In an agreement between the Japanese and American leagues, Sasaki threw a perfect game in April of 2022 and was part of the Japan team that won last year's World Baseball Classic alongside Los Angeles Dodgers superstar Ohtani. Ohtani won his first MLB championship last month when the Dodgers beat the New York Yankees in the World Series. We love to see underdogs win and shine, but that's all at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Insecurity in Nigeria's northern states of Kebbi and Katsina has left over 15 persons dead. Human Rights Panel has indicted Nigeria's military over deaths of children in Nigeria's northeast. And we also told you that death toll from Mozambique election protests has risen to at least 30. Now remember, they can watch News Central TV wherever you are. We're on DSTV channel 422. We're also on Star Times channel 274. You can find us on Avo TV, or better yet, stream us live on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Judith, Atibi. Bye for now.